everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Chris, and today I thought I would bring you along as I get my 2024 garden finally started. Now I'm starting completely from scratch at my new homestead because there was no pre-existing garden here before. There's a bunch of landscaping trees everywhere, tons of rhodies. It was clear the previous owners really were into more of a visual landscape rather than a functional one. So we are in the process of fixing that. I already have my orchard started. I have almost all the fruit trees in. I just have a couple more to go. And this here is the start of the garden bed. Now this is directly across from my house. All of it is just grass. I mowed down a portion of it today so that we could get started on the garden. I'm laying down contractor paper to cover the grass. This should break down pretty easily rather than using cardboard. I actually don't really like using cardboard because it takes a long time for it to break down, and it also doesn't let moisture move through it. So that's why I'm not really a big fan of it and why I'm using paper instead. This is also a method that I learned from Paul Gauchi. He's known for the Back to Eden garden. This is the way he starts new beds, so I thought I would give it a try and see if I like it too. Since I already laid the paper, I didn't bring you along for that. I did that earlier this afternoon when I had a moment right after I mowed the lawn. Now our job is to get some soil laid down. This is the soil that I have. It's not going to be nearly enough for our whole garden, but it will give us a good start. I don't have any of my own compost or anything started, so I had to outsource the source of my soil to get going. So I figured the easiest way to move this is just by wheelbarrow. Our wheelbarrow is loaded, so let's take it to our new garden space. I'm not exactly sure how long I made this bed. I did not exactly measure it, but that's okay. I made it as long as I possibly could. I have this tree and this rhodie and everything it needs to go. This hedge, that hedge, and this bush, and I call this the cousin it tree. Those all need to go too. The big maple on the end here, this one can stay because my husband really likes it. Honestly, I really wanted it to go because I don't think it's in a really great spot, especially because I want my garden over here. But my husband really likes it. He asked if we could keep it there, so I said okay, we can keep it there. One thing I am gonna really have to watch for with having my garden in this space is probably the nastiest weed ever, bindweed. I battled it in a much smaller quantity in my old house and I never did beat it. I can't say I was very happy to see it was here too. And not just here, but in abundance here. So yeah, we'll have to figure out what to do with that. If you have any suggestions on how to get rid of bindweed without herbicides, put it in the comments below because I would love to hear your ideas. I laid some dirt down here already just so that I could get this paper to stay down. The wind kept kind of wanting to blow it away, so I needed to anchor it down with something. Now, we just pile it on. So my goal is to make this bed 4 feet wide. With the paper down, it's a little bit over 4 feet because this paper is 35 inches each and there's 2 sheets down. It only overlaps by maybe 6 inches or so. I'm gonna leave roughly 6 to 8 inches on each side of the paper to get about a 4 foot row. If it's not exact, that's fine. I can always add a little bit more later. It'd be harder to get rid of it if it turns out too big, but if it's a little bit bigger than 4 feet, it's not a big deal. The reason I'm targeting 4 feet is because that's a pretty good width to be able to reach into the middle of the bed from both sides. And I want to make sure that I can reach the middle of the bed so that there's no wasted space. So if I can't reach it, it's going to be hard to plant it and harvest. This is gonna take a lot of trips. Well, we managed to get about halfway done. Now, my body is telling me that I'm done for the day. I think one of the hardest things accepting, especially being pregnant, is that I can't do everything that I used to do. Right now is one of those moments where it's best to listen to your body and say you're done for the day. But we did get quite a bit done. I mean, halfway there. Tomorrow, I don't have to do any of the prep work. Like, everything's mowed, the paper's all laid down. So all I have to do is move dirt to finish this. That should make it a little bit easier, so I'm not taking on quite as much as I did today. So not only did I do all that, but I also at least filled my very first green stalk of the year. I didn't actually plant anything, I just filled it with dirt to get it ready. It was a busy day. I wanted to share with you how I was getting my garden started when I had absolutely nothing to start with. When I'm not really doing many raised beds this year, I am gonna build a small strawberry bed. It won't be anything like my beds at my old house. If you are not sure what I'm talking about, I can link a video below that shows how I built my beds at my old house. I really loved them. They're really beautiful, but they're not very economical. Honestly, they're kind of expensive to build. They were beautiful and I loved them, but I had a small space, so it wasn't such a big deal to build, you know, a bed or two a year. Here, I have a whole lot more space. I plan to have a much bigger garden, and it's just not feasible to build that kind of bed in this quantity, at least not in a short period of time for us. So my strawberry bed, actually, those are two of the end pieces. It's just a 2x6 cedar. It's gonna be 4 foot by 8 foot. The 8 foot boards I haven't got out yet. They're still over in the barn. I was hoping to get that done today, but that's not gonna happen because I am just done for the moment. But it's getting late anyway. It's almost dinner time, so I feel like it's a good stopping point. And I want to say thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you spending your time with me. I'll definitely do an update when I get this done, hopefully tomorrow. We'll see how that works out. And then hopefully I'll be able to get my strawberry bed done too, and I'll bring you along for that. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, and if you hit the bell, you'll get notifications when I upload my next video. I want to say thank you again so much for joining me. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time.